Hey, welcome to KUAM's Decision 2014. I'm Jess Lujan, host of the Candidate Buzz. I'd like to introduce also my producer, Ken JC Conception, producer of our show. So happy this morning to introduce the candidate. Actually, we're supposed to have two candidates here today. We have former Senator Adolpho Palacios, Democrat, and we're supposed to have in studio as well incumbent Senator Minority Leader Republican Tony Yada. He's yet to arrive. But anyway, you're gonna have 30 minutes. I guess I can't limit your time only to 30 minutes.
I can stay all day, Jesse. Thank you.
Buenas, thank you again for coming in, Senator. Let's go ahead and start off and tell the people of Guam again your name, what side of the valley you are, your number, and again your platform for this upcoming 33rd Guam Legislature.
Okay. Inauna si Adolpho Borja Palacios, man sit bizu as a senator, gi 28, 29, 30, and 31st Guam Legislature. In fact, Jesse, no, mita parang 28 na,
28 and 29.
And 29. So I really enjoy the companion there, the friendship. Lo no masagahan dari difunta sa Guam Malta in 1995 si Emergencia Roberto Iglesias. And then, of course, those años after that, no masagam dan si Odessa, na familia Alfazi Malesso. Tres pamagun mami lo. Por todo, Jesse, nebi pamagun mami, size fidenna ges Chencha, dan do tres ges Odessa, pues meggen grandchildren pa ako fanan 20 dan great grandchildren.
You're a busy senator.
Family man, you're looking at family man, Jesse. No, udiside na pa bifalogo talo. Of course, gimapo na eleksyon na no numero 16 jo lo tiginan na sa I guess they need 15 no 15 lo udiside na ba bifalogo talo sa gwahasyan no Jesse no titenan no malago pa ben afunojan na introduce bio lo because of the competing interest na pumalo sa na priorities public health, education, and military reform. Timolofan gi session na po ba consider for example no Jesse istigi bipisikan no malo mo talo David ta fanmanhaya talo most police officers, firefighters, and correction officers. I think our criminal justice system has weakened through depletion of manpower. Megagay na manuhujong through attrition and resignation that kinoy replacement. In mismo tempo, sigya no immigration harlem, sigya bumula tao-tao, jagay kina dinidingo sa ni criminal justice, the strength of the criminal justice is burden right now. And the sad thing about this, no, Jesse, criminal justice matungo ay no. Pues David ita na siguro no, pues está mo introduce biyo imapo na biyagi I think sabog third Guam legislature. O mahaya most police officers and firefighters and corrections. Lo abi introduce talo no no malo mo. Jang ba siya issue sa sukat tipo legislature imana judan tao-tao. Magtuit tao-tao kasi na mamaisin po ajudo. Por favor, may laolo na kwentos. Angin malago malit ang director ni Jabega Chungyo. Beto siya po men Jabega Chungyo. Just the utso ubig imapos na.
Senator, I have a question. I'm going to ask you some questions here, and
yes.
You can answer in English tomorrow or go back and forth. Okay. No, you were actually when you were in the legislature, you served, of course, in then Gibandan on the side of the majority party. You chaired public safety. You chaired public safety,
law enforcement and public safety. Yes.
Now let me ask you about this point here in regards to public safety. You mentioned the problem of public safety, the manpower depletion, and all that. We've been reading, of course. I had Senator Brent McCready here yesterday. He's been adamant about the fact of building a new prison. The resources he's got the bill in regards to. I think it's a private-public partnership. I think that he was looking at and to build a new prison. Your thoughts on that, on a new prison and resources. Of course, we still have to pay for it. We still need to man it as well. Regardless, if you build a new prison, we still have to man it. So yes. we need to find resources for that. What is your ingredient or to remedy the problem of the financial burden or the finances that is much needed for a community. And we're looking at the prison. As a matter of fact, I think your brother was the director, right, of the prison at a previous administration. The problem with the prison, I mean, the situation up there, you have again some of these folks that there that probably based on the compact impact could be deported.
Yes.
So, what is your remedy to the problem up there and their solution? Monetary solution again. Where can we find new funding for not just manpower but also maybe a new prison? Do we need a new prison and how are we going to find the funding for that and likewise for manpower?
Hunggan Jesse, no, we need a new prison at least for two main reasons. If in any no, isn't a prison igagi pagmangilo, it outlived its purpose right now and its usefulness. When that was built, Jesse in the 40 years ago, timika na tao to giuriza. Pues pago na there's more people now building closer to the prison. I think it's traditional that the prison system, the prison facility, no paroma locate away from the community at large.
So let me get this.
So that's another reason.
So a prison, you're in favor of building a new prison, but
Yes.
you're in favor of moving it to another.
Moving it. We have
place
to
as well.
move it.
Okay.
Tililekta na sinata na said video maksa para training center for law
Sure.
enforcement, for example, o di video guys said video displays di manano with o sino mag-exchange, for example, dyan land trust land anemono ni patapega yotro. Anes na tabagoy si Chilo JB Palacios na esta intutun no i-research ni eno. In fact, uno gijok ko staff humano no dyan ni dunia staff pero mali tamano no man design prison systems. Pues esta impitsisige no. Esta was studio mafatinas ma conducta esta ijilig niya environmental impact dan apa. Gui wato I think niyo jok niya dyan wasat dos na site. No tisita sangan sakto mauno na maulig mapega. Istig sinabi sangan na DVD away from where the community and where it can grow in the next 10 years, for example, for more. That prison system we have right now, no just efficient sa ti mabuild para really security and todo say gadget and all siya is not built for that.
And it's within
So it
housing, within residential areas.
Yes,
right?
so
Yeah.
because the problem is that the residential start encroaching, and it's normal because it's a growing community in Manila. Pues put eno na rason ti isaw na prison na pula tao to girija. Lo depi na it's time na ni pa ma-relocate Marsa sa banda. Pagi funding na banda, Jesse wasala piang big federal government pa fanajuda. Diyan ginsina pago ta house e federal detainees and federal employees sempre wasala pigwisa tanahol meno na condition na ungan ta house e jon mizo no prison so you don't the federal they don't have to build a prison say public partnership tar como JFK ejige talo uttu na system and financing dinancim bijo mauli bijo ta harsa JFK ta harsa okudo gwa debel ta hono ta liga lono jani the bottom line is just debut you nahong officialis man malago pamasok ano.
Now, another point here. This past year, the past couple of years actually, we've been reading, and it's made the headlines, and they continue to make the headlines. Not so much now, but they have been making headlines regarding the prison talo here in the escaping. Prisionero no makoni parikotti za malongo gi Ivan. So and then my mistiga Ivan, these van, this was just your average van that you and I would buy off the lot. As the chair, I mean, these are things, these are things that are unacceptable. I mean,
Yes.
we're not transporting, kids to a soccer game. And so what can you do to make sure that when we're looking at these, I'm going, these are standard. They should be standard prison vehicles, and you can't just and tata ka mo to fight ni hey brought my friend be ato to mo station wagon, you know, that's not what you do. And likewise, if you order vehicles, if you order vehicles for moving I guess equipment, that's very different from transporting prisoners, and you cannot, I mean, one is not interchangeable. So how can we remedy this when we read this? Really, I mean, here we are, 2014. Granted, the prison itself, the infrastructure of the prison is outlived itself. But you know, as we buy vehicles, we're going, wait a minute, because we're using this as prisoner transports, but we're not keeping up to the standards. Your thoughts?
The answer, Jesse, within in my memory, Talza, I know of when did they ever buy really a van or a vehicle that is to transport, of course, the prison from one point to the other, especially to the hospital. So again, we have to buy those kind of equipment that would increase, of course, the safety and security. Problem be, at this point, they're short-staffed. As much as they like to put enough staff there, there are other competing priorities. But actually, when I did a research as to the ratio, they say that 1 guard to 10 prisoners. That is actually the national standard. Mm-hmm. But Jesse, I think the population out there is about 500, and I think how many correction officers, I think under 300 or somewhere there. I know that the ratio is, I think, the last time I did the research is about 18 to 1.
Almost double.
Almost double. You have your hands full.
Sure.
At one time, in the Tabog legislature, I talk about that the prisoners don't escape because they don't want to escape, not because they cannot escape. And this is true, Jesse. Not because they cannot escape, they just don't want to escape because there's nowhere to go. And I think it's sad, but
so you're saying the prison itself, if they wanted to escape, they can easily do that.
They can escape.
They can easily. Yeah. They just don't want to at this point. But if they don't, if they wanted to, we would probably every day there'll be an escape prison.
Yes.
That's really a sad statement for our state of the prison.
Yes, because we're understaffed. They take them out there for the public works, and you see how many. Sometimes you got 10 or 15. You only have one or maybe 2 security.
Now, let me shift to another topic here. Last week, Obama came out basically. This was a case that was brought forth by Neil Weir and his legal team in regards to the American citizenship, especially for American Samoa. But this is far-reaching because this is applicable to us too. President Obama came out with an amicus brief that basically said that our citizenship, basically, we're now a solid second-class citizen because of where we live, and because we were granted citizenship by Congress. So basically, what he said was that, but the birthright here, no, it was something that was granted you by Congress, and Congress has taken it away. So basically, what we've always thought, what we've known, has now been solid. Your point of view of that, and now isn't this now a wake-up call for what are we waiting for in regards to our political destiny? And isn't this enough for us to wake up and say, naen at bota pa disti is no political status?
No, I read in the newspaper, and that's very offensive, Jesse, and also insulting because, you know, people that were born in Guam, Guamanians, they die for this country, in defense of this country, in defense of liberty and freedom. But why are we, what? So when there's citizenship, there's 2 classes of citizenship, but when serving the country and protecting the country, it's one for all and all for one. I cannot believe that. And I tell you, the same people that stay here now that are not citizens, if we were to relocate to the mainland, we're citizens. We're first-class citizens. I think the politicians, the people who are experts in those issues, it would be interesting to watch them and discuss this and come up with the idea.
Yeah.
But I don't support that comment. and we have to show and demonstrate and express our desire to be recognized as a U.S. citizen if we are U.S. citizens.
There we go. Now let me ask you again this the situation with the hospital. When you and I were there, we dealt with hospital issues. I think we dealt more with DOE issues at the time that we did with the hospital. But now DOE has management has taken root there and has been doing a really good job. Still financial challenges, but has got that, I think, under control. Now what's taking the place of DOE in regards to the financial situation is the hospital. Recently, Administrator Verga had arrived from the Philippines and looked at partnering up with St. Luke's, and we applaud those efforts because bringing expertise back here that people will normally have to seek elsewhere, pay thousands of dollars to go and be separated from their families. But the fact remains is that you bring expertise here, we still have to pay for it. Somebody's got to pay for it. The non-payers will still be non-payers. So the ones who will be burdened with paying is going to be the paying population. And we're not only going to be paying our share, but everybody else's share, and they're going to have to increase the cost to be able to get over the fact that now we're having increased costs of operations. Your thoughts when you get in at the 33rd Guam legislature? Are you willing to sit at the table and look at all the factors, whether or not maybe do we need to come and have an honest discussion and say maybe Gov Guam shouldn't be in the healthcare business? Your thoughts?
Definitely, Jess, we need to look at that and really improve our healthcare system, especially with the GMH. I don't necessarily agree with difficulties in recruiting expertise, but I believe that our hospital, it being the only hospital, and there's a law that actually mandates that anyone who goes to GMH be attended to and be taken care of, whether you're paying patient or not. It really creates a tremendous burden on our hospital because, the so-called self-pay, the millions and millions, there's an issue there.
Sure.
And I would think, I welcome, of course, the new hospital because that would take off a little of the load, and those that can afford to go there, at least it would alleviate some of the problem at the GMH. The argument against that I heard is that, well, the paying patients would be going to the new hospital and the non-paying patient will go to GMH, and then you actually double or triple the burden. The point is that we need a hospital, and I believe that our GMH, if the government is going to continue to run it, it should run it at a smaller scale than it is right now. In other words, partial privatization. That's actually what I would support.
Okay. Senator, let me ask you this as well. You and I had served on the 28th and 29th together, and some of the efforts I push forward in regards to some of the easing of federal restrictions. Your thoughts again on trying to get the complete exemption from this Jones Act. And when I say Jones Act, not just on the shipping side, but also on the airline side. I mean, we've seen situations deteriorate. And if we're looking at economic prosperity, if there are federal restrictions or federal statutes or regulations that are bestowed upon us, and we can't, we can't get around it, and we're wanting to be more self-sufficient. I mean, how do we get around that? What will you do again when you get in the third Guam legislature to pressure whoever the delegate may be to get us a lifting and restriction lifted from this Jones Act? I mean, right now, as we know, if you're flying from Guam to Honolulu, I don't know how you and I can fly and we can be both designated as not only domestic flyers but also international flyers at the same time. And so, and it's never to benefit the passenger. So, your thoughts, Senator?
Jesse, when you were serving there, I recognized that issue through your presentation. You are very famous for that, and immediately I support that from the perspective of it. It would have to be fair. I support the lifting of the Jones Act and the cabotage law,
yeah,
because you're very,
yeah.
like I say, very familiar
Okay.
with that. It's just the idea that that you limit the competition, you limit the choice of people to be able to get into one, I guess, one traveling mode over another, and the fact that there appears to be a discrimination in terms of what that airline, because it's flying a different flag, should not come here. You know, of course, it's a more complicated and it's a higher
Sure.
level issue, and that has to be dealt with by, I guess, our congressional delegate from Guam. But I support the idea of lifting those restrictions because, you know, the only objection I heard about that is, of course, from those that are enjoying now this so-called maybe limited monopoly, I would say, in terms of, and then they can set their fee, or whether you like it or not, JC. And some, you know, I heard of some people that are actually flying Philippine Air to the Philippines and then from the Philippines to the mainland. I mean, why can't we just straight there and have the same least cost to do it?
I've asked the same question for how many years?
But I agree with the idea, Jesse, that there has to be a leveling
Yeah.
of the.
Well, and the reason why I'm saying why is that passenger that's flying from Guam to Hawaii and Hawaii to Guam both looked at as a domestic passenger and international passenger. You're domestic because you're not going to feed economy anymore, and now you have to pay for your meal. So all domestic flights now, you have to pay for your meal. So you're a domestic flyer when it comes to paying for your meals, and then you become an international passenger or flyer when you get down, because you have to again show your passport, and you have to go through customs and immigration. So if you're a domestic flyer, you don't have to do that. So I don't see how we can get both designations at the same time. I mean, imagine going to customs and having two passports and two different names. You know, this is me and this is me as well. I mean, I can understand you having dual citizenships and showing your same name and all that. But how can you be both? And again, this is a situation where it never benefits us. It doesn't benefit us. Yeah.
You know, just in fact, I learned that from my wife, and only lately, maybe like 3-4 months ago, we were trying to, of course, bring in the parents for vacation, meet with my children. You know that from, let's say, from the States, from Arizona to Hawaii, about maybe $200-300. But from Hawaii to Guam is about $1,000. And I said, my God, I mean, you're almost there already to the States. I mean, it should be, because from Hawaii to the mainland is farther than from Hawaii to Guam. I know, because at one time I traveled, it only takes about 6 hours to get to Hawaii and about 7.5 hours to get to the mainland. So that tells the distance. It's unbelievable. That's because of the Jones Act.
Absolutely.
And the so-called cabotage law.
They're
because of that.
cabotage and sabotage all at the same time.
So yes, I agree, and I hope somebody's going to move that. I'll be behind it.
There we go. Let me ask you this again. Recently, of course, when we're looking at revenue generating, we also, want to make sure that people pay their taxes. Recently, the governor says, "Hey, look, you guys got to pay your property taxes," and so he actually has come up with the fact that he's not going to look at individual homeowners and lot owners and all that in regards to their delinquent property taxes. He said he's going to concentrate again and look at delinquent, maybe commercial property owners, and start the process of instituting what needs to be instituted in to be able to get them to pay their taxes. Your thoughts on that? And again, the 33rd Guam legislature, taxes need to be paid.
Yeah. Well, Jesse, just the idea of selective enforcement, so to speak, it doesn't sit well with me. Although I kind of support really taking, I guess, taking on the commercial delinquent accounts. But I really don't. I'm not an attorney, but I really don't think that would fare well when it's challenged. At any rate, I think what should be done, and I own a small business, just don't renew the business license until those things are settled. I mean, that's what we do. We obtain tax clearance from here and there, and then when you're cleared, then your license is issued. Now,
And likewise, all the other licenses, like even
Yes.
health, I guess your
Yes.
health certificates and things
yes,
of that nature,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And then that's one way. We will not renew your license until you pay your tax. Of course, then a private owner of a private lot, undeveloped lot, I mean, there's nothing to renew. So there's nothing to deny on licensing.
Yeah, you can hold their taxes.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah,
if you
sure,
if you
sure.
don't want to tax the residential lot,
Yeah.
the private lot, and only the commercial, then in my own thinking, that's one way to sort of skirt the issue of discrimination and say, well, we will not renew your license unless you pay your delinquent tax. But a private owner, of course, has no license to renew.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but
So the reverse of it, instead of like private individuals, instead of them being sued, they'll form a corporation. They'll form a corporation. In this sense, corporations say, hey, we're going to individual lots now. We individually own the lots.
Again,
That can be done, right?
anytime you provide an exemption, there is a temptation
Yeah.
to manipulate that. And that's true. The corporation, no, those are lots. Those are empty lots.
There you go. But anyway,
But the idea, just
sure.
the idea to auction off or to seize land and auction off and pay the delinquent tax, the idea, I support the idea.
Okay. One last thing before I ask you to again talk to the people and tell them your name and where you are in the ballot and all that. Recently, do you agree on the method on which the legislature tackled the situation of medicinal marijuana? At first, as a lot of callers will call up here and they said, hey, look. Public hearing. There were two, I think even three public hearings. Started a resolution to a bill, and people went out there to testify because the legislature was supposed to tackle this issue, vote on the bill, and argue it, vote up or down regarding this situation. Well, apparently, what happened on the floor when it came to the vote, not enough votes were taken. I guess election time, people kind of wanted to wash their hands. They said, not me, it wasn't me. And so they did it through the referendum. We saw how it went. It went to court. Finally, here we are at today. Then there was an issue about whether or not the Santos Amendment is applicable. Now we find out, no, it's not. It's a legislative submission, only by a simple majority. Santos Amendment is not applicable to this. Your thoughts on how it was handled initially as a bill that the legislature would have tackled, and we wouldn't be talking about that now, or at that time it changed into a submission or a referendum?
Jesse, I believe that the legislature has the authority to, I guess, proceed with just doing it as a bill and acting on it. I also believe that the legislature has the power, the authority to do what it did, pass a bill and put it as to a referendum. And so I knew it all along. I'm not an attorney, but I knew it all along, that if the legislature can pass a bill to allow citizens to pass laws to a referendum, why can't it itself
allow itself to do the same
allow
thing?
itself to do it? And I knew it, and so I was not surprised of the ruling. Again, I'm not an attorney, but it's common sense, Jesse. Now, with respect to the use,
I hear you.
with respect to the use of marijuana, Jesse, I'm neutral on that, meaning that even if you go for recreational marijuana, for example, but with the current bill, my problem is the enforcement of it. There will be a lot of conditions here and there. Who qualify? When do you qualify? When do you get your refill and so forth? And what if I qualify to obtain that through a doctor? How do you police reselling that to others that are not authorized to use it? And if I'm not authorized, I can go to a person who's authorized and I say, here's $500. Just get me $400 worth, and you keep the $100. Those are the issues, and the doctors that are going to issue this how are they going to keep the record?
Now, there's
I mean,
no
there's going to be issue of
Yeah.
policing. That's my issue.
there's no doubt that absolutely the rules and regs have to be very stringent, and there's going to be not just a person or two that say, hey, go check out these places. There has to be a division that strictly enforces that, and you have to definitely beef up your Attorney General's office,
Exactly.
your police department, and DOC. Those are all, again, areas that you need to beef up. It's not just one entity. It's whenever you create or undo some things, you create also the unintended consequences that happen. So it's going to take a lot of money.
It's going to take a lot of money for which the government of Guam is not prepared to defend.
Yeah.
That's my take on that one.
Yeah. Thank you. We've come to that time, but thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in this morning. But again, tell the people of Guam your name, your number on the ballot, and what would you do, again, should the people of Guam give you an opportunity to serve in the 33rd Guam Legislature?
Thank you very much, JC. I serve in the 28, 29, 30, and 31st Guam Legislature, and that's 8 consecutive years. And I enjoy every day of it. In fact, JC, if you look at my record, I maintain perfect attendance all through that time, all the 8 years, because I look forward to it. Not only that I enjoy doing policy work, working with my colleagues, solving problems or mitigating problems, I enjoy the personal side of it in helping people. And I always say, JC, that when a person comes to me and asks for help, I take that as an opportunity to prove to that person that, yes, you can trust me. Yes, you were right in thinking that you can come to me and get help. And I told my staff over and over, when a person comes here, make him want to come back again when leaving this office. That's how it is. And all my staff, I didn't make it, but they all stayed there because they're all disciplined staff. We're all friends, but we have a job to do, and we owe it to the people of Guam. And my staff, my office open at 8 and close at 5. And I don't require any of my staff to go out after hours if I'm not going to pay them overtime. One of the staff, JC, that I paid overtime because I conducted an evening shift, said, well, we'll make it for calm time. I said, no. Calm time, you still work, you still have to work that time. But you deserve, because you come to support, the audio and the setting up and those things. Mm-hmm. Because these are people that are working people that left their house to do that. It's not fair, in my opinion. I'm a very fair person, Jess, and because I went through that, and I don't want to be treated unfairly, and that's where I'm coming from.
Senator, again, what number are you? What side of the ballot? Again, here.
I am number 13.
Okay.
And so it's within the 15. Palacios, there's only one Palacios running. My nephew, that was rumored to be running in the Republican, Eric, who is the administrator of EPA. No, I think that was just a rumor, and it's good that...
so there's no confusion in this election?
No, it's good that he's going to vote for me now because there's no point in splitting. So, but he's the son of my brother.
Oh, there we go. That's right, EPA. Yeah.
EPA, and again, I enjoy serving the people of Guam. That's why I'm running. I have time. I'm retired. So I'm ready to serve, Jesse.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it again.
Thank you again.
It was
Thank
a
you
pleasure serving
to the
with you
people of
also
Guam.
the 28th and the 29th.
Yes.
You can watch a rebroadcast of the candidate buzz tonight at 7:30 on local channel 2. Likewise, it'd be, of course, highlighted on KUAM primetime. Also, it'd be on our KUAM YouTube channel. And then tomorrow afternoon, you can see a rebroadcast of this program on KUAM TV 8 at 2 p.m. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow, my in-studio guest will be incumbent Senator Frank Uggan Jr., as well as senatorial candidate Republican Val Paris. That's tomorrow morning right here on the Candidate Buzz as we continue our conversations, of course, with the candidates for the 33rd Guam Legislature. Again, Senator, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in here.
No, thank you for the time.
Yes, thank you very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.